Peace be upon you. Welcome back to another episode of Sisters Halal Talk. I am Nansfit Muhammad. Today's guest is Miss Rashida Abdulrazak, and we're going to be talking about grief and losing a spouse. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay, welcome, Miss Rashida.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm glad to have you here because the topic I want us to discuss is something that is deep and personal, and it's something that is universal because everybody at some point in time must go through grief. We must either lose someone or we'll be the one to be lost, one way or the other. And I know personally that you've lost a husband and you are a parent to 4 kids. So now let's talk about that grief. How losing a spouse is actually one of the most troubling experience that anyone could go through, like losing a spouse or losing a child. To me, I think it's even worse than losing a parent. So how were you able to move from the point of deep grief to a point of trying to exist?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Losing a spouse is not a situation that anyone pray for as a married woman or as a married man. Not only that, losing a loved one, not only a spouse, be it your child, your parents, or another person, we know how grievous it is to our mind or our feelings. But for me personally, if you want to ask how I was able to pass through the grief, I think if you follow the verse in the Holy Quran, we've learned that as Muslims, we are going to pass through some difficulties. As Muslims, we must prepare our mind towards loss of child, loss of husband, loss of wife, loss of properties, the fear of hunger, and many other things. So you as a Muslim, we must prepare ourselves. I think that verse really helped me a lot. Many times I've witnessed many ladies losing their husband, which I don't pray for, but I always put it in mind, if such things should happen, what will I do? But as Muslim, we pray it shouldn't happen, which I also pray it shouldn't happen to me.
You mean before you lost your husband, you've already programmed yourself to say one day I will lose my spouse?
No, I don't have it in mind that I will lose my husband any day. Okay. But as Muslim, the Quran told us that we should always prepare our mind against any loss.
Yeah, it's true.
If you don't prepare your mind against any loss, when it happens, the situation you're going to find yourself is going to be devastated. So as Muslims, we should see ourselves that anything can befall us at any time. Yeah. It may not be me losing my husband. What if it is my husband losing me at that moment? So anything can just happen. So as Muslims, what we must always bear in our mind is that everything belongs to Almighty Allah. If you have it in mind that everything belongs to Almighty Allah, if you lose anything, and you grieve over it, it will be very easy for you to just come over it. And that is what just happened to me. Okay. It really helped me to come over it.
Like, yeah, it's nice that you talked about believing in God, like believing in Allah and putting all your hopes in Him. Like, it's a good one, and it's something that really would help anyone, and it's helping to anyone who struggles. Yes. Now, again, let's go back to, were there moments after you lost your husband where you thought this world was impossible to go on?
Actually, when it really happened, my mind was like, would I be able to cope? Would I be able to survive it? And what is the reason? Simply because I and my husband were just best of friends to each other. So even if we travel for 1 or 2 days, I know the way I used to feel, like as if it is an eternity. So for me, having that feeling like he is no more there, you know, it takes me time before I even realize
this is true.
Because several times after he has gone, I will still pick my phone. I wanted to call him to gist in all for me to, after dialing his number, then it will not down on me and like, he's not there. Then I'll feel like, oh God, how will I cope with this situation? Will I be able to bear it? But with Allah's mercy, alhamdulillah, I still overthrew it.
Okay, that's a deep point. Now, I'm sorry I have to keep pushing to ask you more questions because I really want to understand, like, I've lost a parent, but I don't have a spouse to be losing one yet. So at that, it's really deep to try to know, like, when we lose someone close to us, that's when we question that. We're like, is it true? But when it's somebody else that dies, that you don't really know that much, you say, oh, the person has died. May the person rest in peace. But once it's your loved one, you will not even, because let me tell you this quick one. When my dad died, when I saw the dead body and everything, then I think the wrapper moved or something, and I told my sister, he's still alive. Like, I literally, my sister used to joke with me till this day that Nana has sat down with dead body for how many hours, but because she saw something, she still felt like that person was alive. But if it was somebody else's father that I was told was dead, I would just be like
that.
I would believe it that that person died. So now, going back to you, how were you able, after the grief and the moments, 4 kids, 4 children, I know it wasn't easy. So like, how did you move to the moment of trying to take care of them, to being a mother, a present mother, and also to fill in the space of the lost father? So how did you do that?
It has not been easy, but what makes it a bit easier for me is that my husband was not, before his death, he wasn't around.
Yeah.
He was working somewhere, so he used to come back home like weekend or 2 weeks. So I'm always at home with the kids. So that's one thing, they kind of having that feeling of like, I used to be with the kids. Now, but thinking of when he's no more at all, I don't know, the feeling is not that easy for me. Because when it happened, I can tell you more than how many months. I still used to go outside, the way I used to wait for him, like he used to come back home on Friday night.
Go and wait.
I would still go outside and sit down and be waiting for him like he's coming. So there was a day I was waiting, sitting down, then a lady, a neighbor, she was at her own compound, but she can't see me. She just look and say, Auntie, sorry, please go inside. You know, when I heard her, it's like maybe she has not, I don't know, Auntie, can you just go inside? So I just look like, what? Then I went inside, I started crying.
Wow.
So it's not just easy.
Yeah. Being an independent woman is not easy, even for someone that is single. Now, for someone, we know Islamically, men are to shoulder the burdens of women, the family, the children, all of your needs and all of that. Now, you have lost a husband. Shouldering the needs of 4 kids, like 4 children, like that responsibility for school, for health, for welfare, for whatever. Were you able to get support, external support that made it easy for you?
Yes, thank you. Shouldering the responsibilities of the children, especially my children, Allah really make it easy for me. Firstly, regarding their school, when you are also at a particular position, it's just good to be good. There was a time I happened to be a TP student in my children's school. My children were not there that time. So they have a fire incident in that school, and I called my husband, who happened to be an emergency officer. So I called him, I told him what happened. So in their office, they used to assist people with relief material. So we too tried to push in to get some relief material for this school. That was when my children were not even in that school. We not even think of putting them in that school. So it was how many years later that we later brought them to that school, and they now happen to be students of that school.
Wow.
Before I finally lost their dad. So when this thing happened, so let me say one of the teachers of the school just, the father of these kids have helped this school before. Please, is there anything school can just do for them?
Wow.
You understand? So we were asked to write letter of assistance to the school. And after the principal also meaning that truly the man has been of assistance to them, the director also witnessed. So, they were able to help us, at least reducing the burden of the school fees. And then in terms of every other needs, I'm also a working person. I'm a teacher. I'm a fashion designer, so my business center. I just do many other things together. So anything that comes out from this, I'm able to help my family from it. So apart from that, there are some external sources that also assist me. You understand? I have some old neighbors that used to feel like, you are not like this when you are in this. When we're together, you are not like this. You help us. One day we just come. They can bring food stuff, even cash. So then some people that I don't even expect will just come with cash. You know, even at times if I just sit down, I feel like, oh Allah, I need this thing. My own is just to pray to Allah that this is what I need. I may reach home and my children will just tell mommy, this person brought this thing. So I received some extra source as part of assistance to my family.
That's Allah's barakah. You know, there's this verse where God says, not a leaf that falls, but He knows. So, like, it's the extent at which God just takes care of everything in His own way. So, however we try to bother about certain things, it will still come to us in the way God has designed it. Now, let me still go back to you having support. Were you able to join social groups?
Yes. I joined some social groups. Let me just after the loss of my husband, because through some people that are around me, they want me to go out, meet people, so that I don't stay indoor and just be grieving. Understand me and be thinking. So I have a particular sisters group at Suleja, Sisters of Jannah.
Okay,
Suleja.
SOG. Okay.
That's SOG, Suleja group. So I joined them. We used to have this meeting like once in a month. So from there, then I have another group, Benakum Counseling Group.
Okay, Benakum.
Yes.
Mr. Abdul Fattah Adeyemi.
Yes, that is anchored by Ustaz Abdul Fattah Adeyemi.
Yeah.
So actually, it's not that I used to attend that one weekly, but at least once in a while, or anytime I'm at home, I just feel like I'm not happy or I want to feel down. The next thing I will look for money and try to attend the program. And when you reach the program, whatever I heard, meeting people and other things, I felt somehow before going back home.
Yeah.
You understand? So I joined.
But let me ask you something. Did you do some of this social stuff while you were married?
Like what?
Joining these groups, like being part of an organization.
On
like
the social media.
Not social media, like all these sister groups and co. Did you do them?
I don't do.
Okay, I'm trying to connect dots. You know, my mom, before she got married, I knew she's this active social person. She was MAMSA, she was a Man of War, she was in MSS and all those crazy organizations, both actively and mentally. And when I was growing up with my mom, I don't remember her being part of this organization. After my dad died, my mom is an active member of organizations. And one day I sat her and I'm like, how come you're doing these things now? And she was like, when she was grieving deeply, she had to pray to Allah to give her that confidence to go back to who she used to be before. So like, I'm just trying to get how grieving.
Initially, I don't used to do all these kind of social things, you understand?
Yeah.
See, before the loss of my husband, I can just tell you that my issue was just like me and my family. If my wife is around,
the whole world is love.
You understand me? So when it happens, so I don't really have that mind of going this, except maybe for my business as a fashion designer. I have many groups on social media. I have a group of bag making groups, Abuja bag makers, Abuja fashion designer, all this kind of business stuff. So that's why most of the time you find me there, either I'm learning something or I have some work that I've just done and I want to post on my group.
Okay.
I can post on my group, you learn things. So those ones kept me busy also.
Okay.
So anytime I'm feeling like I want to go there, I have some video that I've downloaded on my business, watch them, learn things. Those things kept me.
Actually, I've learned,
thank
you. I've learned certain things from you right now about grief, which is you should put God first and you should try as much as possible to have something of your own. And also doing good. It has a way of coming back to you.
Yes.
Yeah, from what your husband did. And the last one is joining social groups. So these are the 4 things I picked from you. And now we'll be doing this or that question. So Ms. Rashida, I have 10 this or that questions for you.
Okay.
So let's see what are your choices. Now, the first one is honey or sugar?
Honey.
Why honey?
Honey is good for it. Naturally, honey is good for health, so I like honey.
Okay, you're sounding so holy and so spiritually. Okay, let's go to the next one. High heels or flat shoes?
Aye.
Yeah, I've seen you almost all the time, even with all your height on high heels. So I would have doubted you if you had said flat shoes. So the next one, native or English wears? Let me see what you choose.
I don't not if I say native, not really like as in, I'm my tribe. I don't put on this my wrap or this thing. But at least I make my clothes look a bit native. Just native, I don't know.
Native. I wanted you to choose so that I'll pick you. You said native and you saw mostly English wears. So now you just dragged your customers to my side.
No, I used to wear some of those English dresses too.
You've already chosen native. So now the next one we have live in the city or live in a village.
Live in the city.
You live in the city? You prefer to live in the city?
I prefer. I was once living in the village, so I know what it means.
You don't want to go back.
No.
Okay. Polygamy or monogamy?
Islamically, polygamy.
You choose polygamy. So you
Yes.
prefer to be in a polygamous
I
realm,
prefer.
even though you have experienced monogamy.
Yes, I prefer it.
You prefer to be in a polygamous. That's a deep one. Okay. I hope you really prefer it from the bottom of your heart. So let's go to the next one. To marry a poor man or to marry an angry man? A poor man or an angry man? You have to choose. You have to choose.
I just have to choose one.
Yes, just either. A poor or angry.
I prefer a poor man.
You prefer a poor man?
I don't want an angry man.
Why are you scared of men's temper? You can just shout at him back.
For real.
You prefer a poor man. That's a great one. Yeah. A poor man. It's not a great one though, but I don't even know the one that I would choose if it was me too. So the next one, be embarrassed or be afraid.
Okay.
Someone should disgrace you, or you should be there scared in one corner.
No, I don't want someone to disgrace me.
Then you want to be scared in one corner.
Okay, I'll be scared and hide somewhere. I want
Okay.
to be embarrassed.
Okay. The next one, sleep with lights on or stay in a dark room.
Dark, yes. Presently, I'm sleeping in dark room. Presently.
Is it good for your health?
But I can't sleep with light.
Okay,
So I
I'm
prefer a
just...
dim light, but since there is no dim light in the option, I'm presently even at home, I'm sleeping in dark room. So for now, I think that's my answer.
Okay. Amala or pounded yam? As a Yoruba woman.
Pounded
Amala.
yam.
Oh, pounded yam. Okay. Live without water or live without light?
I will live without light.
You live without light?
It's better.
Yeah, I think it's better. It's better too because no water
living
like
without
you,
water, no.
so much struggle. No.
It's not easy.
Okay, we've come to the end of the second segment with Miss. So it was nice having you, Miss Rashida.
Thank you very much.
I've really
Mr.
learned something deep and personal, and I hope when our own time comes, if we're the one that end up dying or the other person dying, let's know how to navigate and live properly in life. Because at the end of the day, we would all live dead. We've come to the end of today's episode. We've talked about loss and grief with Miss Rashida Abdulrazak. I hope you learned something from her own personal journey, trying to navigate and trying to live properly and trying to exist continuously. So until next time, I am still Nansfit Muhammad. Don't forget to subscribe, like, follow us, and you can follow me on all social media and those at Nansfit Muhammad.